He inquired about my attire for girls' night, and I quipped, just in case I encounter someone more interesting. He then proceeded to lock me out. He inquired about the reason behind my attire for a girls' night out. I made a jest, just in case I encounter someone more remarkable. He barred my entry. Indeed, that is precisely how it unfolded. To be honest, I remain perplexed by the intensity of his reaction. It was obviously intended as a jest. My name is Sophia, I am 27 years old, and I have shared 5 years with James, 3 of which we have spent as a married couple. He once found amusement in my sarcastic remarks, yet recently, it appears that every word I utter ignites his ire. That night transformed everything between us, and I find myself still unraveling how a trivial jest escalated into the chaos we now face. That Friday night, I dedicated nearly 2 hours to preparing myself. A fresh ensemble, artfully applied makeup, and hair elegantly curled to perfection. The creations. As I entered the living room, James glanced up from his workbench, where he was engrossed in sketching designs for a bespoke dining table. His eyebrows arched in surprise. "Wow, you look quite elegant for a casual get-together with Emily and Olivia," he remarked. As he set down his pencil, I couldn't help but do a little twirl, a sense of satisfaction washing over me. "Thank you. I long to experience a moment of genuine comfort. It has been some time since I dedicated this level of effort." A transformation swept across his expression. I found it difficult to decipher. "It seems you never choose to adorn yourself in that manner when we venture out together." I sighed, for we frequent the same trio of restaurants, and you perpetually hurry home to dive into your projects. In quiet reflection, I couldn't help but notice how our date nights seemed to pale in comparison to the enchanting evenings my friends showcased on Instagram with their husbands. James rose to his feet, folding his arms across his chest. "It seems you are dedicating so much energy to your friends, yet I find myself overlooked." At that moment, I ought to have simply articulated my need for a confidence boost or something of the sort. I chuckled and replied, "Well, you never can tell. Perhaps this evening holds the promise of encountering someone more remarkable." The moment those words escaped my lips, I noticed a shift in his demeanor, a sudden rigidity taking hold of his features. He remained calm, his voice steady and unraised. He regarded me with a chilling detachment that was utterly unfamiliar. "That's not amusing, Sophia." "Not in the slightest." With a frustrated sigh, I snatched my purse. "Oh my goodness, it was merely a jest." "When did you start to feel so deeply? It would be beneficial to adopt a more relaxed attitude." "Is it really? What about a little humor?" he inquired softly, "for it seems as though you are perpetually searching for reasons to feel let down by me." "You're being quite dramatic," I remarked, glancing at the time on my phone. "I must take my leave. The young women stand in anticipation." He left without a farewell. I paid it little mind. We had experienced minor disagreements in the past. I assumed he would have calmed down by the time I returned home. The evening of camaraderie unfolded at a newly opened cocktail establishment in the heart of downtown. Impeccable illumination, exquisite beverages, the type of venue where patrons inadvertently capture moments for their social feeds. Emily stood there, her flawless hair cascading effortlessly in her designer bag, a gift from her husband for their anniversary, exuding an air of elegance. Honestly, I find it unbearable how she constantly feels the need to outdo everyone else's relationships. "Oh my goodness. Your appearance is truly stunning." She let out a delighted squeal upon my arrival. Her swift appraisal of my outfit did not escape my notice. "Thanks," I remarked, easing into the booth. This night out was essential for me. James has been experiencing one of his moods lately. A few minutes later, Olivia made her entrance. I apologize for my tardiness. Daniel incessantly probed with questions about our destination. I let out a resigned sigh, my eyes drifting upward in exasperation. James had a peculiar reaction to my choice of attire. Is it really impossible for us to look nice without it being for a man? Yet, the reality was that I relished the glances I received from men at the bar. One individual, in particular, frequently cast glances in my direction, and I found myself not entirely dissuading the attention. I would never betray James, but surely there's nothing amiss with a touch of innocent flirtation, is there? There's a certain warmth in being desired, particularly when your husband seems to find more companionship in wood and power tools than in your presence. As the evening wore on and the drinks flowed, Olivia found herself opening up about her frustrations with Daniel's family. Yesterday, his mother reached out to me, inquiring about the reasons behind our decision to delay having children. As if it concerns her at all. At least Daniel has a genuine career, I remarked impulsively. James continues to strive for success in his furniture business. Are you aware of the gift Megan's husband presented to her for their anniversary? A journey to Cabo. Do you have any idea what James gifted me? A meticulously crafted jewelry box, born from the hands of an artisan. Thank you for the gentle nudge about our budget constraints when it comes to gifts. Upon arriving home at the stroke of 1 a.m., I found that my key refused to turn in the lock. I made another attempt, convinced that perhaps I was simply too tipsy to succeed. Silence reigns. I rapped gently at first, then with increasing urgency. James, would you be so kind as to open the door? The key has ceased to function. Stillness. I dialed his number, sent directly to voicemail. I sent a message. No reply. It was then that my gaze fell upon the small lockbox affixed beside the door. The type utilized by realtors. I had never laid eyes on it before. A note was affixed to it, bearing a straightforward code inscribed upon its surface. I entered the digits, and there it was, my house key nestled within. He had altered the locks and provided me with an entry, yet ensured I understood that my presence was unwelcome. Upon stepping inside, I was greeted by an enveloping darkness that filled the house. Half of James's closet lay bare. A brief message rested on the kitchen counter, stating, "Staying at a hotel. It's time for us to delve into your true desires." I remained frozen, in disbelief. Clad in my evening attire, with makeup slightly askew, I grasped the note in my trembling hand. How did a foolish jest evolve into this? And why did I feel this unsettling sense that it transcended the mere joke entirely? The night unfolded as I oscillated between sending furious texts and leaving urgent voicemails. Initially, a wave of fury washed over me. Who would go so far as to change the locks on their spouse? In that moment, I found myself begging, "Darling, please return home. It is imperative that we have a conversation." As dawn broke, the silence gnawed at me, and I found myself consumed by frustration. I retrieved my hidden cache of emergency cash from its secret spot behind the bathroom vent, $600 that James remained blissfully unaware of, and treated myself to a rejuvenating spa day. If he wished to embrace a more juvenile demeanor, I could certainly engage in that playful dance as well. When he finally replied on Sunday night, his message was maddeningly composed. "I shall return home tomorrow following the day's labor. It's time for a conversation. Shall we converse? Concerning what matter?" An absurd jest that he exaggerated beyond all reason? My day was consumed by an obsessive cleaning spree, as I meticulously rehearsed every possible argument to make him realize the absurdity of his actions. When he finally stepped through the door that Monday evening, I had conjured a tempest of righteous indignation within myself. "Ah, I see you've returned," I remarked, arms crossed, observing him as he placed his bag by the door. He appeared transformed in some way, his shoulders held high, his expression a mystery. "We need to talk about what happened," he said, remaining still, not reaching for me as he usually did after our time apart, neither for a hug nor a kiss. "You lost your composure over a jest and barred me from my own home." I reached my breaking point. Can you imagine the level of embarrassment I felt in that moment? What if someone had caught a glimpse of me? James's jaw clenched with tension. What about a little humor? Is that truly your perception of what it was? Clearly. My goodness, when did you become so attuned to your feelings? It wasn't merely the joke, Sophia, it was the deeper truth it unveiled. He settled onto the edge of the couch, maintaining a deliberate distance between us. "I have found myself reflecting deeply on our relationship, particularly on the way you speak of me to your friends, drawing comparisons between me and their husbands." My stomach plummeted. How could he possibly be aware of that? Unless, have you been monitoring my phone? Perusing my messages? The notion that he had trespassed upon my personal space ignited a fierce anger within me. "I find no necessity for that. Daniel, Olivia's husband, confided in me completely." He raised his gaze to mine, his eyes devoid of warmth. "It seems you've been rather outspoken regarding your disappointment in my fabricated career, expressing that you deserve something far superior." A warm rush spread across my cheeks. Daniel misunderstood my intentions, I was merely expressing my frustrations. It's not uncommon for everyone to voice their grievances about their partner from time to time. Do they jest about discovering someone superior while all dressed up for an evening out? Are they intentionally sharing photos that capture the attention of other men? Had he truly witnessed that? I believed I had successfully restricted him from viewing my stories. "I told you, you're overreacting." Yet, my voice fell short of conviction. The evening unfolded as a rather foolish escapade. I was releasing my pent-up frustrations. This transcends the mere confines of Friday night. It revolves around a recurring theme, Sophia. For months now, your actions have subtly eroded my confidence. Offering subtle critiques of my efforts, drawing parallels between our existence and that of your acquaintances, behaving as though I am a hindrance to your progress. Last week, I received a call, he continued, his voice unwavering, from a design firm in Seattle. They wish to appoint me as the lead designer of furniture. It would entail a relocation, yet it represents the culmination of years of effort and aspiration. My mouth felt parched. Seattle? Surely, you jest. This is the essence of my existence. The work I do, the companions I cherish. It's unreasonable to think I could simply abandon everything I've built. I expressed my need for some time to reflect on the matter and to discuss it with my wife. The weight he placed on the final word resonated with an air of accusation. However, following Friday, a realization dawned upon me. It seems you don't envision a future with me, do you? Not quite. I am merely a temporary fixture until a more suitable option appears. That's not fair, I exclaimed, as tears welled up in my eyes. The conversation seemed to elude my grasp, as my typical strategies of deflection and emotional displays proved futile. Everything is being twisted. Am I truly? From my vantage point, the situation appears quite evident. You feel a sense of shame regarding me, my actions, and the bond we share. No, I whispered, yet even to my own ears, it resonated with an emptiness. My passion for my work is immense, Sophia. I excel in this area. I once believed you took pride in my accomplishments, yet recently, all I seem to hear is how I fall short compared to your friends' husbands. How might I create something that surpasses mere adequacy? How I fall short. This evening, I will be resting in the guest room. I require a moment of solitude to contemplate my desires. Perhaps you ought to consider following suit. Yet he failed to appear. When dawn broke, James had already slipped away before I opened my eyes. Only silence lingered, an absence where his presence ought to have filled the void. I burst into my supervisor's office, asserting a family emergency, and departed early. My strategy was straightforward. I would visit his workshop, compel him to engage in conversation, and strive to make him understand my perspective. We couldn't simply allow matters to remain unresolved in this manner. He was unable to simply walk away from me. As I arrived at the repurposed warehouse that he shared with two fellow artisans, I noticed his truck parked in the lot. Excellent. This time, there will be no escape. I glanced at my reflection in the rearview mirror, applied a touch of lip gloss, and adjusted my blouse with care. One tends to attract more flies with sweetness, indeed. The workshop was suffused with the comforting aroma of sawdust and varnish. As I entered the room, one of James's workshop partners, Nathan, glanced up in astonishment. Sophia? Is James absent? His truck is parked outside, I remarked, my eyes drifting over the unfinished fragments strewn across the room. Indeed, he departed roughly an hour prior, accompanied by Victoria, discussing a rendezvous with clients regarding a bespoke creation. Victoria. The name struck me with the force of a sudden blow. She was the interior designer who sometimes partnered with James on ventures for upscale clientele. Victoria, tall and effortlessly elegant, possessed an impeccable taste that captivated those around her. Yet, it was her slightly irritating habit of brushing her fingers against James's arm, a playful gesture accompanying her laughter at his jokes, that lingered in the air like a delicate perfume. Where have they ventured off to? I insisted, sensing the sharpness in my tone. Nathan appeared ill at ease. The specifics elude me. Perhaps a residence belonging to some clients, I suppose? I hurried back to my car, swiftly opening Instagram to peruse Victoria's profile. No updates to report. I reached out to James once more, but it went straight to voicemail. This was utterly demeaning. In the midst of the most significant conflict of our union, he chose to be with another woman? A more beautiful, accomplished woman who shared his fervor for design. Upon arriving home, I embarked on an endeavor I had never attempted prior. As I stepped into his office, I lifted the lid of his laptop. The discovery I stumbled upon sent a wave of nausea through me. Countless emails exchanged between James and the Seattle firm spanned several months. Since January, they had been pursuing him, presenting project ideas, salary details, and relocation packages. He had replied with great enthusiasm, sharing portfolio pieces that were unfamiliar to me. He had orchestrated this scheme in silence, never uttering a single word to me. Then came the messages with Victoria. There is nothing inappropriate. There was nothing I could identify as proof of anything more than a professional partnership. Yet, the effortless connection between them was unmistakable. She grasped his design language, provided thoughtful suggestions, and exchanged articles and inspirational images. They shared a world of private humor. A bond existed between them. I reclined, a chilling awareness enveloping me. James had crafted an entire existence that remained a mystery to me, filled with professional triumphs, aspirations, and a web of connections. Why had he chosen not to share it with me? For I had expressed unequivocally that I held none of it in esteem. Each time I had brushed aside his efforts as mere pastime, measured him against the husbands of my friends with a critical eye, or scoffed at his passion, I had been unwittingly creating distance between us. Negative. This was not my doing. He ought to have spoken with me. He ought to have conveyed to me the significance of it all. Instead, he simply withdrew, constructing his own hidden realm, and now he was poised to unravel our marriage over a trivial jest? When James returned home that evening, I had stewed myself back into a state of righteous indignation. He discovered me perched at the kitchen table, the glow of his laptop illuminating the space before me. "Did you access my computer?" His voice held a hushed intensity, laced with peril. "You have been concealing truths from me," I retorted. "Seattle? Is that you, Victoria? Were you ever planning to share this with me, or was your intention to vanish without a trace one day? Last night, I attempted to share my thoughts on Seattle with you, if that rings a bell. Victoria is a colleague of mine. Nothing further. A coworker with whom you share more moments than with your spouse. A colleague who witnesses your true self while I am left with the remnants." James regarded me with an expression that resembled pity. "The true essence of who I am is not what you seek, Sophia. Your point has been articulated with utmost clarity. Are you seeking a partner with a higher income, a genuine career, someone who can stand alongside your friends' husbands in terms of success? That does not reflect who I am. I'm taking the job in Seattle," he murmured softly. "Today, I have fixed my signature to the contract." The ground appeared to shift beneath my feet. "Excuse me? What is there to discuss if it wasn't even brought up with me? You fail to acknowledge the value of my work. You feel a sense of shame in my presence. What compels one to traverse the expanse of a nation for something that holds little significance? This decision cannot be made unilaterally. We have entered into the sacred bond of marriage. Are we truly? It seems, of late, that we are merely two individuals coexisting under the same roof." He swept his fingers through his hair, a sudden weariness washing over him. "I have no desire to confront Sophia, yet I find myself compelled to take this step. For my own sake. And what of my own existence? What should I do now? Simply dismantle my whole existence? The choice is yours to make. Feel free to join me on this journey." Or, the unvoiced alternative lingered between us, palpable and heavy. The weekend spent with my parents was a true test of endurance. I had intended to inform them that James was away on a business trip, yet he arrived on Friday evening to assist with dinner as if everything were perfectly normal. He exuded charm, engaging my father in conversation about his golf game and offering compliments on my mother's fresh haircut. Should my parents have sensed the strain that lingered between us, they chose to remain silent about it. It was at the dessert table that my mother, with a nonchalant air, inquired, "So, James, how's the furniture business faring?" Before he had the chance to respond, I interjected with a controlled chuckle. Yes, still crafting tables that require months of dedication, only to part with them for a fraction of their true value." The ensuing silence was overwhelming. James's gaze was palpable, yet I steadfastly averted my eyes from his. After a brief pause, he spoke with unwavering calm, revealing that he had received an offer from Westbrook Design in Seattle, where he would take on the role of lead furniture designer for their custom residential line. My mother's eyes grew wide. "Seattle? Yet, that feels like an eternity." "It presents an extraordinary chance," James elaborated. "They rank among the premier design firms in the nation." I interjected with a firm tone, "We haven't made any decisions yet. It is merely a proposal." At last, James met my gaze and said, "I've accepted the position. The date for the move is open to adjustment, yet my start date is in 6 weeks." My parents shared a knowing look. My father cleared his throat, "And you'll be joining us as well, Sophia?" The inquiry lingered, suspended in the atmosphere. James remained silent, allowing me to respond. We have yet to unravel that mystery." I persevered, stifling the tears of embarrassment that threatened to spill over. How could he possibly catch me off guard in front of my parents like this? That evening, once they had retreated to the guest room, I found myself confronting him in the kitchen. What was that all about? Revealing it to my parents before we've even reached a decision. I have made my decision, Sophia, I shared that with you. The choice lies solely in your hands. Are you truly okay with discarding our marriage? Over what, exactly? What about your ego? Is it because I dared to utter a single remark about your beloved furniture? James rested against the counter, his arms folded across his chest. Negative. It has dawned on me that I am unable to bring you the happiness you seek. I find myself weary of the constant effort. That evening, I made my way to James's workshop event. The gallery buzzed with the presence of works from the 3 artisans who collectively inhabited the space. I chose my outfit with care, aiming to convey support without appearing overly eager. This was not a matter of creating a spectacle or attempting to reclaim his attention with a revealing outfit. It was a matter of discovering whether there remained anything of value to preserve. Upon my arrival, the gallery brimmed with visitors. Design aficionados, prospective clients, and the artist's friends gathered amidst the showcased furniture creations. James caught my eye right away, engrossed in dialogue with an elderly couple who were scrutinizing one of his tables. There stood Victoria, exuding an air of effortless elegance in her simple black dress, a portfolio held securely under her arm. She gestured toward one of Nathan's chairs, engaging a man clad in an expensive-looking suit, likely guiding her affluent clients toward selections that would seamlessly complement their ideal homes. The well-known sting of resentment surged within me, creeping up my throat. A small crowd drew my gaze, gathered around what seemed to be the highlight of the event, a desk that was unlike anything I had ever witnessed James create. Smooth contours intertwined with natural curves, where concealed compartments emerge upon the gentle caress of specific areas in the wood grain. As I observed, James showcased the versatility of the surface, illustrating its adaptability for both standing and sitting positions, while a concealed panel gracefully emerged to unveil a charging station for devices. This work signifies a fresh path in my artistic journey, he elaborated. I am in the process of curating a collection in Seattle in collaboration with Westbrook Design. His voice carried an unmistakable pride. This was more than a mere job offer, it was an acknowledgement, a validation of his talent and vision, something I had never truly bestowed upon him. As I made my solitary journey home, James's voice reverberated in my mind. I seek a soul who truly perceives my essence. Had I truly ever laid eyes on him? Or had I been too preoccupied gazing beyond him, fixated on what I believed I was entitled to? The following day, I found myself behind the wheel, navigating towards the address provided on the Seattle design firm's website. Their local satellite office occupied a repurposed industrial building in the heart of downtown, characterized by its exposed brick and expansive windows. The receptionist glanced up as I stepped inside. "How may I assist you?" "I'm delving into the company," I admitted weakly. "My husband is contemplating a role here. Certainly, we possess a collection of writings that delve into our company culture and the benefits we offer." She presented me with a polished brochure. "It is an exceptional environment for employment. The Seattle office surpasses this one in its impressiveness." As I turned the glossy pages, I was greeted by images of exquisite workspaces, cheerful employees, and, most notably, breathtaking furniture pieces showcased in elegant homes and chic boutique hotels. James's work would be an ideal match for this place. He would flourish in this setting. As I approached my car, my phone vibrated unexpectedly. A message from my supervisor. "I must speak with you at the very start of tomorrow. There are apprehensions regarding your performance during this quarter." My stomach plummeted. Lately, I found myself adrift, neglecting deadlines and delivering half-hearted presentations. In my preoccupation with personal turmoil, I had allowed my professional responsibilities to falter. I couldn't help but notice the irony. I had cast judgment on James's career, all the while overlooking my own shortcomings. As I stepped through the door, I found James in the kitchen, deftly loosening his tie while pouring himself a glass of water. He appeared weary, yet there was an unexpected lightness about him that hadn't been present in months. As if he had laid down a weighty load. "Hey," I murmured gently, resting against the doorframe. "How did your dinner go?" "Efficient. The Millers are seeking a comprehensive bedroom set inspired by the gallery piece." He lifted the glass to his lips, taking a measured sip of water, his gaze fixed on me with intent scrutiny. "How did your day unfold?" "Radiant." I stepped into the kitchen, positioning the island as a barrier between us. I visited the Westbrook design office. His eyebrows arched in surprise. Did you really? What is the reason behind this? I yearned to witness it, to grasp the direction in which you are heading. I delicately traced a pattern on the countertop with my finger. It is truly remarkable. Your work will seamlessly integrate. Thank you. He placed his glass upon the surface. Sophia, what brings us to this moment? Gliding in circles, exchanging casual words as if they were unfamiliar faces. I'm uncertain about how to resolve this issue. I confessed, the words lodged in my throat. I'm uncertain whether it can be repaired. Perhaps it is not capable of doing so. His voice carried a softness, yet held an undeniable strength. Perhaps we have evolved along divergent paths. James, would it be utterly wild if I joined you in Seattle? His expression remained carefully concealed. What could possibly motivate you to pursue such a course of action? Everything you are is contained within these moments. Perhaps it is time for a complete transformation of my existence. Perhaps it's time to cease the comparisons and begin crafting something truly significant. Together with you. I inhaled unsteadily. If that is still your desire. I'm uncertain, Sophia. I wish for you to stay away, not out of fear of solitude. Or perhaps due to a sense of obligation. I desire your presence, not out of obligation, but because you genuinely wish to share this moment with me. The authentic self, not a mere reflection of your desires. His words resonated deeply. Did I ever truly love the real James? Or merely the promise I believed he held to provide me with the life I felt I was entitled to? I must take a moment to ponder that, I replied with sincerity. Engage in deep contemplation, rather than merely responding. Half a year later, as I perused Instagram, a sponsored post suddenly captured my attention. A breathtaking array of furniture from Westbrook Design, showcasing James's unique aesthetic. The caption proclaimed, "Breakthrough designer James Ellis unveils his distinctive vision for our spring collection." The image captured a collection of elegant, cutting-edge designs that effortlessly blended the realms of the avant-garde with a sense of timelessness. I navigated to James's professional profile. Images capturing his workshop in Seattle, the vibrant atmosphere of gallery openings, and the dynamic partnerships with fellow artists. He had trimmed his hair to a shorter length and cultivated a tidy beard. He appeared to be filled with joy. Triumphant. It was precisely what I had envisioned for him, though my eyes had been too clouded to recognize it. In numerous photographs, Victoria made her presence known. Positioned near him at gatherings, gazing at him with clear reverence. The gaze I once cast upon him, before I began to overlook his presence. I shut the app and surveyed my surroundings within the confines of my apartment. A lifeless, impersonal environment adorned with nondescript furnishings sourced from ubiquitous retail chains. Devoid of any essence of affection or the signature of its maker. I had accepted the position with the competitor, relocated to a more desirable neighborhood, and acquired an array of new possessions to curate an ideal Instagram-worthy existence. In that moment, I found myself entirely, profoundly isolated. Once I found myself unattached, those I once called friends began to fade from my life. It appears they were more inclined to enjoy an evening meal with couples than to stand by a friend navigating the tumultuous waters of divorce. The position that once appeared so significant was merely a position. Ceaseless gatherings and futile documentation. The salary that once appeared to be the solution to all my problems scarcely made up for the profound emptiness I experienced. I possessed all that I believed I desired, yet lacked the things of true significance. Under the cloak of night, I composed an email to James. I gazed at it for what felt like an eternity, crafting and recrafting each word until, at last, I pressed send. Ultimately, it was straightforward, merely a handful of lines expressing my congratulations on his achievement. Expressing that I had always recognized his talent, even in moments when I had not demonstrated it, while hoping for his happiness. To my surprise, a response arrived the very next day. Just as straightforward. "I appreciate your kind words for my outreach and your hope for my well-being." A gesture of respect exchanged between two individuals who once intertwined their lives. 2 weeks later, a modest package found its way to my apartment. Within lay a diminutive wooden box, masterfully fashioned with my initials delicately inlaid upon the lid. No note, no explanation required. A final offering from the man whose brilliance I had overlooked, whose affection I had wasted. It found its resting place upon my nightstand. A gentle nudge to reflect on the consequences of being so preoccupied with the pursuit of something greater that you overlook the beauty of what lies before you. A reminder that arrives just after the moment has passed to make a difference. Yet, it may not be too late for me to transform into someone capable of genuinely perceiving others in their true essence. Not about what they can offer me. Ultimately, that jest about encountering someone superior unveiled a harsh reality. I was the one who fell short. It is not James. By the moment I came to understand it, he had already shifted his affections to another, someone capable of perceiving him in his entirety, valuing him wholly, and loving him for the essence of his being. All that remained was a profound sense of regret. A small wooden box, embodying more craftsmanship and care than anything else in my meticulously curated existence.